The Charger rolls to a stop behind Elmridge High. The late sun glints off deep blue dress blues and mirror-bright boots as Solomon Dryden steps out. He smooths his jacket, reaches into the glove box, and takes a worn photo. His wife smiles in it, their baby boy in her arms. He presses the photo to his chest. "I promised you. I will not miss this." He locks the car and walks toward the gym. Flags lift in a warm Texas breeze. Families hurry past with flowers and signs. He moves slow and steady, shoulders square, breath even. Inside, the gym hums with life. Popcorn, floor wax, metal chairs. Silver letters read Class of 2024. He shows his ticket. Third row left side, family seating. He sits. The chair wobbles. He does not. He looks at the stage, at the long line of gowns. Somewhere in that sea stands his son. Tall, lanky. His mother's eyes. The music swells. People rise. He rises too, not for show but for love. 8 hours on the road for one moment that matters. He is ready for anything. The gym empties in waves. Laughter spills into the hall. Shoes squeak on the floor. Balloons bump the ceiling and drift toward the doors. Solomon waits a beat longer in his seat, letting the sound soften. His hands rest on his knees. His back stays straight. The photo in his pocket feels warm against his chest. When he stands, Creed is already moving toward him. No rush, no big scene. Just quiet steps and a steady gaze. "You good?" Creed asks. "I am," Solomon says. "You should not have had to carry that today." "No one should. But we handled it the right way." Javier Meeks joins them with a nod. Zachary Wells lingers by the exit, keeping an eye on the flow of people. The others stay spread out, as if they are still holding a perimeter that no one else can see. "Go find your boy," Creed says. "I will." Outside, the light is softer now. Long shadows fall across the back lot. Students gather in little circles, trading jokes, fixing caps, taking pictures over and over, until the smiles look right. Near the flagpole, Tyron spots his father and stops mid-sentence. The noise around him blurs. He tucks his phone in his pocket and walks forward. They meet halfway. No words at first. Just the weight of the day settling in the space between them. "You okay?" Tyron says. "I'm good." "You?" Solomon asks. "I'm good too." Tyron's jaw tightens. "They tried to move you." "I know. I was ready to leave that stage, I mean it. I was 2 steps from walking off." Solomon places a hand on his shoulder. "And you did not. You knew I could handle it. You also knew that moment was yours. You earned every step across that stage. I am proud of how you carried it." Tyron breathes out, a long, steady breath. "Who were those men?" he asks, glancing past his father toward the exit where the 6 have drifted into the open air. "Brothers," Solomon says. "Men I bled with. We pulled each other out of places most folks only see in movies. They show up when it matters. That is what loyalty looks like." Tyron nods slowly, like the word loyalty is turning into something solid inside him. It felt like the whole room changed when they stood. "It did," Solomon says. "But it began before that. It began when you stood in that line and chose pride over anger." They start walking toward the lot. The Charger waits by the chain-link fence, still warm from the sun. Tyron runs a finger along a small scratch near the handle. "She would have made us retake every photo," Tyron says, smiling at the thought of his mother. "She never liked the first one." "She would have cried through the whole ceremony," Solomon says, "and still found a reason to fix your tie again." They climb in and close the doors. The car turns the noise of the crowd into a soft, distant hum. For a moment, they sit in the quiet. The dash ticks as the engine cools and then settles. "I need to ask," Tyron says, turning in his seat. "Why didn't you say anything to those guards? You just sat there." Solomon taps the steering wheel once, thinking, "Because I do not have to stand up for who I am. I do not have to raise my voice to be heard. There are 100 chances in life to choose anger. Some of them feel good for a minute. Most of them do not build anything. Dignity builds. Presence builds. Silence can carry farther than shouting if you let it." "They disrespected you," Tyron says, "in front of everyone." "Yes," Solomon answers, "and everyone saw it. They also saw the truth. They saw 6 men who had every reason to be somewhere else stand up. Not for a show, for a principle. That is what people will remember." He reaches into his jacket and takes out the photo. The edges are soft from years of being held. Tyron's mother smiles up at them, a younger Tyron in her arms. I carried this in Kandahar, Solomon says. I carried it when we buried your mother. I carried it today, not because a photo makes me strong, but because it reminds me what is worth protecting. Tyron studies the picture. His voice drops. You always knew who had your back. I had faith, Solomon says. Real men do not vanish when it gets uncomfortable. They show up. They stand. Sometimes they sit still and make the world adjust. Outside, a few families wave goodbye and drift to their cars. Creed and the others start their engines. Before he pulls away, Creed looks across the lot. It is not a wave. It is not a salute. It is a simple look that says we are here. Solomon returns the look with a small nod. So what now? Tyron asks, easing back into the seat. Now we drive home, Solomon says. You pick dinner. Waffle House, Tyron says, already grinning. Of course. They pull out slow, the school shrinking in the rear view. The sky over the parking lot glows a warm gold. Streetlights blink awake one by one as they merge onto the road. Neither of them turns on the radio. The quiet feels right. At the first stoplight, Tyron speaks again. I want to be like that. Like you. You already are, Solomon says. You walked with pride. You did not let anger steal your moment. You stayed grounded when everything tried to push you off balance. That is the work. Keep doing it. The light turns green. The Charger rolls forward. The day is done, but its lesson is not. Some people shout to be seen. Others hold their center and let their actions speak. Father and son drive into the soft evening, carrying a memory that will not fade. Not because it went viral, not because it was loud, because it was real, and because it showed what strength looks like when the noise falls away. The last note of the anthem fades and the room sinks into that short hush that always comes before a big event. A gym fan rattles high above the banners. Sunlight slips through the high windows and falls in bright bars across the floor. The principal shuffles papers at the podium. The band in the corner tests a soft note and then goes still. Two men step into the side aisle. They are not police. Black polos tucked into cargo pants. Company badges clipped above the chest. Radios on their belts. One is broad and square, jaw tight, head shaved clean. The other is tall and restless, chewing like he wants to be somewhere else. Their footsteps are quick and controlled. They move with the confidence of people who expect to be obeyed. Solomon sees them the way a trained eye sees weather. He does not turn his shoulders. He does not tense. He notes their path, their hands, their breathing, and then he looks forward again. His ticket rests folded in his left palm. The plastic chair under him wobbles when someone bumps his row, and he steadies it with a quiet touch. Sir, the broad one says, bending just enough to be heard over the crowd. We need you to come with us. Solomon turns his head. Is there a problem? This section is for families of graduating seniors. He holds up the printed ticket. Third row left side, family seating. The volunteer at the door circled it in blue ink. This is my seat, he says, voice calm and even. The tall guard leans closer. We have seating in the back, same view. Let's do that. A program rustles in the row behind him. Someone coughs. On the far bleachers, a little boy lifts a phone, then lowers it when his mother touches his arm. The woman on Solomon's right, older with silver hair pulled into a neat bun, glances at the ticket and then at the guards. Her mouth tightens. She says nothing yet. It is already full, the broad guard says, not looking at the paper. We have to clear the row. It was full when I sat down, Solomon answers. I was placed here by staff. The tall guard shifts his weight. We are trying to avoid a scene. Please move now. Solomon's eyes stay steady. I drove 8 hours to watch my son walk across that stage. I will remain in my assigned seat. A beat passes. The broad guard straightens to his full height and scans the room like he wants someone to back him up. No one does, not yet. He drops his voice. If you do not cooperate, we will have to escort you. The word escort hangs in the air. It does not match the day. It does not match the rows of flowers near the podium, or the grandparents in their Sunday best, or the line of students trying to hold their caps in place. It hits the wrong note and people hear it. Heads turn. Whispers start in small threads that braid themselves across the aisle. The older woman finally speaks. He belongs here, she says, clear but kind. Leave him be. The tall guard flicks a glance at her, then back to Solomon. Sir, last request. Solomon looks at him without heat. What is your name? Mally. Thank you, Mally. My name is Solomon Dryden. My son is graduating today. I will not be moving. The broad guard taps his radio and speaks into his shoulder mic. He keeps his eyes on Solomon the entire time, like the words are only for show and the stare is the real message. Across the gym, a faculty usher tries to catch his attention. Uneasy, hand lifted halfway into the air. He pretends not to see. The principal begins her welcome. Her words roll over the loudspeakers and fill the building with the careful tone of a practice script. The crowd claps on cue. Names will start soon. Cameras rise like a tide. But in the third row left side, time slows down and tightens. "Come on, man," Mally says, softer now, adding a half smile that does not reach his eyes. "You will be more comfortable in the back." The phrase is gentle on the surface. The meaning is not. Solomon has heard versions of it in waiting rooms and front desks and ticket lines. He acknowledges it with a single blink and lets it pass. He is not here to argue the past. He is here for his son. "I am comfortable where my ticket places me," he says. The older woman nods without looking away from the stage. "Good," she whispers. A folding chair scrapes. 2 rows back, a father stands to adjust his camera and then decides to stay standing. He crosses his arms. On the opposite aisle, a teacher pauses with a stack of programs and watches from the corner of her eye. The air gets thin the way air gets thin before a storm. Not loud, not wild, charged. The broad guard lowers his voice even more. "If you refuse, we will remove you." Solomon turns his shoulders for the first time and faces him fully. His posture is open. His hands are still. "You will not put your hands on me," he says. "And you will not keep me from my son?" Something in the broad guard's jaw flexes. He is used to people wilting when he leans forward. He leans. It does not work. He steps back half an inch without meaning to. Mally glances toward the bleachers as if the room might offer an answer. The room offers silence. The band teacher lifts a hand to start the first drum roll for the procession of names, then lowers it when he senses he should wait. A balloon pops near the doorway and half the audience flinches. The sound rings like punctuation. The volunteer with the clipboard appears in the aisle, breathless. He is the one who circled the ticket. "Everything good here?" he asks, voice careful. "Not your concern," the broad guard says. "It is his concern," Solomon replies. He shows the ticket again, not for the guards now, but for the volunteer who helped him. The man's face reddens. "Yes, sir," he says. "That is family seating." "That is correct." The broad guard's eyes harden. Pride pushes him past a point he should have respected. "You are leaving now." The older woman's hand trembles on her program. She looks like she might speak and then decides against it. Solomon gives her the smallest nod. A quiet thank you for being there. He looks back at the stage. He could stand. He could raise his voice and call for a school official. He could ask the crowd a question and let them answer with a wall of sound. He does none of those things. He chooses stillness. The choice is not weakness. It is a weight he sets down in the middle of the row. It anchors the space around him. It tells the truth without a single sharp word. It says, "I belong." It says, "I will not be moved." Mally feels it before he understands it. He rubs his jaw and steps back another half inch. The broad guard reaches for his radio again and speaks into it with clipped words that try to sound like authority and land like noise. On the stage, the principal lifts her head and begins the roll call at last. The first name echoes. A cheer rises from one corner. A camera flash pops. In the third row, left side, the guards hesitate. They do not want to walk away. They do not know how to press forward without crossing a line everyone can see. They hover in their own uncertainty. And somewhere behind them, a door at the far end of the gym opens with a soft click that almost no one hears. The soft click from the far doors is easy to miss. Most people do. The principal begins the welcome and the speakers carry her words across the gym. Names will start soon. A drum line waits with sticks held high. The air is bright and tight at the same time. The 2 guards keep their place beside the third row. The tall one shifts on his heels. The broad one stands square and still, chest out. His badge flashes when he turns, Garvin. The name is small. The attitude is not. Solomon keeps his eyes on the stage. He does not slouch. He does not glare. He lets the moment pass over him like a wave he already learned how to stand inside. The ticket rests open in his hand. The blue circle around family seating is plain as day. "Sir, I am asking again," Mally says. Softer, trying a friendly tone that feels practiced. "Seats in the back are open, same view. Easier for everyone." "My view is here," Solomon says. placed by staff. You can confirm with the volunteer who seated me. The volunteer with the clipboard hovers 3 steps away, nervous but present. He lifts his papers. He is correct. 3rd row left is family seating. He showed me his ticket at the door. Garvin does not even look over. We received a directive, he says. Row is full. It was full when he sat, the older woman says, voice steady now. And he is a family member. A few heads turn. A father in a baseball cap lowers his camera and stays standing. A grandmother adjusts her shawl and gives the guards a long look that says she has seen this kind of push before, and she has no patience for it. A boy on the bleachers raises his phone, starts recording, then lowers it because his hands are shaking. The principal moves into her first notes about pride, community, and the journey ahead. Polite applause rolls through the bleachers and fades. The tension in the 3rd row does not fade. It gathers. It listens to itself. From the far doors, a tall man with a close beard steps in. No rush, no fuss. He takes a seat near the middle bleachers, aisle side, coat folded over his arm. His eyes track the room once, calm and exact, then settle on the 3rd row. He looks like a man who can wait. A second man enters 2 beats later. He chooses a seat on the opposite side. He sits with his feet flat and his hands open on his knees. His shoulders are relaxed in a way that suggests they can be firm in an instant. He does not speak to the first man. He does not need to. Solomon notices them without turning. It is the kind of noticing that lives in a neck muscle and a breath. He does not call it out. He returns his attention to the stage and to the line of black gowns that stretch along the far wall. His son is somewhere in the middle. He can feel it more than see it. Last time, Garvin says, leaning in so close his belt touches the plastic chair. Stand up. Walk with us. Or we make you. The older woman moves her purse off the shared chair leg and squares her shoulders. He is not going anywhere with you, she says. Her voice is not loud. It is precise and clean. It travels farther than shouting. The volunteer lifts his clipboard like a shield. We can get the principal, he offers. Garvin ignores him. Mally tries a new angle. Sir, look at me, he says. We are trying to keep things smooth. People are watching. They are, Solomon says. They will also watch when you put your hands on a man with a valid seat. Mally blinks. The words are not angry. They just fit. He looks toward the stage, then back at Garvin, then at the audience. The calculation on his face is not cruel. It is confused. He does not know how to climb down. Across the gym, a 3rd man takes a place high on the bleachers. He sits on the end of a row and rests his forearms on his thighs. He studies the aisle like it is a map. His jaws cut tight, but the corners of his eyes are soft. He sees everything. Tyron is still in the student line. He cranes his neck just enough to find the 3rd row. He cannot hear the words, but he does not need to. He recognizes the posture. He saw that same stillness the day his dad taught him how to change a tire in the rain without cursing at the sky. He saw it the night they sat in a quiet living room and folded a flag with both hands and no sound. A teacher whispers his name. He nods and steps forward with the line. His hands are steady at his sides. He feels fire and pride at the same time and holds both without letting either spill. Do not embarrass yourself, Garvin says, voice low but sharp. This is a high school. Not your base, the sentence drops like a weight. The people who are watching feel it land. None of them say a word. It is the kind of line that reveals the speaker more than the target. Mally hears it and flinches in a small way, like he wishes that part had not slipped out. Solomon breathes once through his nose. Walk away, he says. Not loud, not cruel. Just final. Garvin's jaw tightens. He reaches for his radio again. He does not press the button. He wants someone else to carry the choice for him. No one does. On the stage, the principal moves to roll call. The band offers a clean snap of snare and then stops. The first name rings across the gym. A cheer rises from one corner. The cheer feels louder than it should because everything else has gone quiet. A 4th man comes through the doors. He does not look at the other 3. He picks a spot near the exit and sits sideways so he can see both the aisle and the stage. He places his hands palm down on the seat and tests its wobble. Then he settles and watches. The air around the 3rd row changes in a way most people cannot explain. They feel safer and cannot say why. The older woman leans toward Solomon for the first time. You have people, she whispers. I do, he says. Mally swallows. He tries a last olive branch. Sir, give me your name and I will bring the principal to you. We can confirm in the back. You can bring the principal here, Solomon says. I will be where my son can find me when his name is called. The volunteer takes his chance and slips away to get help. The teacher with the stack of programs walks halfway down the aisle and stops, unsure whether to step in or let the moment correct itself. 2 rows back, the father with the camera keeps his arms folded. He is not a soldier. He is not a fighter. He is a man with a daughter on the far wall and a line he does not want crossed in front of her. His stance says so from 10 feet away. A 5th man enters and stands for a short beat near the door as if he is reading wind. Then he sits. A 6th follows not long after. He takes a place in the right side bleachers, leans forward with his elbows on his knees and locks his gaze on the 3rd row. None of them speak. None of them gesture. They move like separate pieces that know exactly where the others are without looking. Solomon keeps his seat. He keeps his quiet. He keeps his promise to be present for one name and one walk, and one moment that matters more than anything else in this gym. He does not turn to the men who have arrived. He does not need to. He knows what their presence means. He knows what it has meant before. Garvin looks around and finally understands that the math has changed. He is not counting fists or size. He is counting a kind of calm that is heavier than force. It presses on his pride like a hand on a hot stove and asks him to remove it. Back off, Mally says under his breath, but he is saying it to his partner now, not to Solomon. Garvin does not answer. He steps closer by a fraction. The belt touches the chair again. He wants the last word. He wants it even if no one hears it. The principal calls the 3rd name. Applause swells and fades. The sound carries over the guards and the 3rd row like a river over a stone. Solomon does not move. The older woman breathes out slowly. The father with the camera shifts his weight and stays rooted. From the center aisle, a new voice will soon speak. It will be clear, calm, and final. It will not shout. It will not curse. It will not threaten. It will do something stronger. But for one more beat, the gym holds its breath. The drumline waits. The names wait. The crowd waits. The 3rd row waits, anchored by a man who came to watch his son and refuses to let anyone move him away from that promise. The gym doors at the far end swing open. The sound is quiet, almost lost in the shuffle of programs and applause, but the energy shifts. A tall man steps inside. He wears no uniform, no badge, just a dark coat over a simple shirt. His posture says more than fabric ever could. Straight, balanced, steady. He moves without hurry, and yet every step seems to fall with intention. He chooses a seat on the center aisle, not near Solomon, not in the middle of the crowd. He positions himself where every angle is clear. His hands rest on his knees. His eyes scan once across the gym, stage, bleachers, guards, exits, then settle on Solomon. He doesn't nod. He doesn't smile. He simply watches. Another man enters a few seconds later. He takes the opposite side. He folds into his chair like he has all the time in the world, but the stillness around him feels sharper than silence. His chest rises slow. His head tilts forward just enough to suggest he's listening for something no one else can hear. One by one, they filter in. 6 in total. They never cluster together. They never acknowledge each other. To the casual eye, they are strangers scattered through the crowd, but to anyone who has lived in foxholes and firefights, the pattern is unmistakable. Their gazes never wander. Their shoulders never slouch. Their presence is quiet gravity. The guards don't see it yet. They're too focused on their target, the lone Marine who refuses to budge. Garvin hovers, broad frame casting a shadow over the row. Mally chews his gum faster now, restless energy betraying the calm tone he tries to keep. You're making this bigger than it has to be, Mally mutters. Solomon's voice is low, firm, final. I'm sitting where I belong. It's not volume that makes heads turn, it's the weight in the words. The nearby families hear it. They feel it. It reminds them of something older than ceremony, something steadier than rules printed on a ticket. Then Creed speaks. From the center aisle, his voice carries without effort. It is not loud, but it cuts through chatter like a blade. Is there a reason this man is being bothered? The gym stills. Not silence, just the hush that comes when everyone realizes the script has changed. Garvin blinks, surprised. Who are you? Creed doesn't answer the question. He takes one step into the aisle, his eyes never leaving the guards. I asked you something. Why are you bothering this man? Mally raises his hands, palms out, trying to ease the sudden weight pressing on him. Sir, we've got it under control. No, Creed says, sharper now. You don't. The words ripple across the rows. People shift in their seats. Phones tilt upward again. A boy near the bleachers whispers to his sister, but his eyes don't leave the aisle. Even the principal on stage falters mid-sentence, glancing toward the commotion. Garvin's jaw tightens. His hand hovers near his belt, not on a weapon, just close enough to send a message. It's the kind of move made to remind someone of power. That's when the second man rises. From the far bleachers, he stands slowly, calmly, arms folding across his chest. His face is still, but his stance is unmistakable, ready, alert, unshaken. A third follows a heartbeat later, choosing the opposite aisle. The audience begins to realize they are not random fathers or uncles. They are something else. Solomon doesn't look back. He doesn't need to. He knows the sound of boots on gravel. He knows the rhythm of men who move without words. These are his men. Men he pulled from burning wreckage. Men who once followed him into fire. Men who never forgot. Mally sees them now. His gum slows. He shifts his stance again, unsettled by the sudden presence closing in around him. He glances at Garvin, hoping for direction. Garvin does not move. Pride pins him in place. Creed takes another step forward. You don't tell him to move. You don't touch him. You don't even ask again. Walk away. The words are calm, but they carry the weight of battlefields and funerals. They are not spoken for effect. They are spoken because they are true. Around the gym, parents straighten in their seats. Students crane their necks. The ceremony still stumbles forward. Names are called, applause sputters. But no one is really listening anymore. All eyes are fixed on the third row, left side, where one man sits and 6 more stand like shadows. For the first time, Garvin's certainty falters. He sees what Mally sees. These men are not here by accident. They are not simply watching. They are holding the room in place. And suddenly, the guards are not in control anymore. The air hums with quiet electricity. Everyone senses it. Something has shifted. The line has been drawn, and it is not Solomon who is about to cross it. The gym holds its breath. The drumline waits with sticks raised. The crowd leans forward without meaning to. Garvin squares his shoulders like a wall. Mally shifts again, eyes flicking from Creed to Solomon to the phones now pointed their way. Creed stands in the center aisle, hands loose at his sides. He is calm in a way that makes other people breathe slower. His eyes never leave the guards. His voice does not need the microphone. You will not touch him, Creed says. You will walk away. Garvin drags in a slow breath. You do not give the orders here. I do not need to, Creed replies. The rules already did. This man has a ticket. This is his seat. A low murmur rolls across the bleachers. The older woman beside Solomon nods once, as if she has waited all day to hear an adult say something this simple. The volunteer with the clipboard returns at a jog, cheeks flushed. He raises the paper high like it is a flag. Family seating, the volunteer says, voice shaking but clear. He was placed here. Garvin ignores him. He has chosen pride, and now he is trapped inside it. He leans closer to Solomon, belt touching the chair again, and lowers his voice to a threat made for 2 men and the inch of space between them. Last chance. Solomon turns his head a fraction. His eyes are steady. He does not bristle. He does not blink. Walk away, he says. Mally raises one hand toward his partner, palm out, a quiet signal to ease off. He is not weak. He is not scared. He is a man who can still see the line on the floor and knows his foot is touching it. Let us get a school official, Mally says. We can confirm it right here. Creed does not step any closer. He does not need to. He shifts his weight just enough to fill the aisle with intention. On the far side, another man stands from the bleachers. He folds his arms. A third steps down 2 risers and stops at the end of his row, feet planted. A fourth near the exit adjusts his stance so he can cover both doors. The last 2 rise in their places and remain silent. Their presence slides across the gym like the first cool wind before rain. Tyron watches from the student line. He counts the men without moving his lips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He does not know their names. He does not need to. He knows what their stillness means because he has lived with the man who taught them what stillness can do. The principal leaves the stage. No drama, no microphone scrape. She hands her notes to an assistant and walks down the steps with the careful grace of someone who has managed 100 crowded rooms and can read the room in one gaze. The assistant principal follows, one hand on her walkie. The principal arrives at the third row and touches the volunteer's wrist. "Let me see," she says. He shows her the ticket. She looks at the blue circle. She looks at Solomon. She looks at the guards. "This is family seating," she says, voice like a bell. "Sir, you are correctly placed. Gentlemen, step back." Garvin's jaw tightens again. It is a small movement, but the gym can feel the stubborn heat of it. He wants to win. He wants it more than he wants to be right. He opens his mouth. Creed's gaze lifts half an inch. It is not a threat. It is a notice. It says, "We see you." It says you are not the only man in this room who understands force. Mally reads it and drops his eyes first. He turns to the principal. "We were told the row was full." "It was full," she says, "and it included this gentleman. You will move now." The assistant principal speaks into her walkie, short and exact. Two teachers take positions at the ends of the row, facing outward, not inward. The signal is not loud, but it is loud enough. The crowd hears authority without anger. Relief hums through the nearest seats. Garvin looks at the phones. He looks at the 6 men. He looks at Mally, who is already taking a step back. His pride has carried him as far as it can carry him. It will not carry him through this. He steps away from the row, not much at first. An inch, then another. The movement is small, but it breaks the spell he tried to cast. The gym exhales. The older woman's shoulders loosen. The father with the camera drops his arms and wipes his eyes with the back of his hand like the dust has suddenly risen in the air. The principal nods to Solomon. "Please enjoy the ceremony," she says, as if this has all been a simple seating question. It is a gift. It gives the room a way to return to what they came for. "Thank you," Solomon says. Creed does not smile. He does not relax. He just lets his breath out and stays where he is until the guards clear the aisle. The other 5 remain standing until Garvin and Mally turn their backs. None of them celebrate. None of them perform. They do not need to. Garvin tries to recover a scrap of control. He taps his radio. "We are leaving the area," he mutters. The words are for his pride, not for the device. He and Mally walk toward the back exit. They do not move fast. They do not move slow. They move like men who want to be unseen but cannot be. A hush follows them to the door. It is not fear. It is a silence of decision. It says, "We saw what you did." It says, "We saw what stopped you." The principal returns to the stage. She does not scold. She does not mention what happened. She lifts her notes and finds her place. "Thank you for your patience," she says into the microphone. "Now the names." The drumline answers with a clean snap. The crowd tries a cheer, then another, like a runner finding rhythm after a stumble. The list begins. First name. Second name. Third. Applause rises in waves, stronger now, carrying something deeper than celebration. Respect moves in it like a current. Creed does not sit at once. He holds his post until the door closes behind the guards and the latch clicks. Only then does he lower himself into the center aisle seat. The others follow one by one as if the room is a camp finally secure for the night. Solomon does not look back at them. He faces the stage. His hands rest quiet on his knees. The photo in his jacket sits over his heart like a steady hand. He came here to witness one walk. Nothing will pull him from that now. Tyron listens for his name and hears more than a name. He hears a lesson. He hears what restraint can change. He hears how a room can be set right without a shout. On the far wall, a banner lifts in a small gust from the fans overhead. Class of 2024 ripples in silver letters. A girl trips as she steps up to the ramp and laughs it off. A boy forgets to shake the principal's hand and doubles back, red with joy. Life returns to the shape it was meant to take. Near the bleachers, a mother who has not said a word all morning stands and claps harder than the row around her. The sound spreads. It is not for any one student. It is for a standard the room just watched in practice. The 6 men remain quiet. A few parents look their way with curious eyes. Some guess. Most do not. It does not matter. What matters is that the room now knows what stillness can do when it stands in the right place. The assistant principal crosses the back wall, speaking low into her walkie. 2 staff members peel off toward the doors the guards used. They are not hunting trouble. They are closing a gap. The principal calls more names. Laughter returns in soft bursts. Throats clear. Cameras flash. The heat in the gym is real now, but the kind that comes from bodies packed close and hearts knocking in time. Solomon leans forward a fraction. He does not clap for every name. His eyes stay on the line at the far end of the floor.
His son is there.
He can feel it the way a compass feels north. Creed glances once toward Solomon and then back to the aisle. The look is not a check. It is acknowledgement. It says the watch is kept. It says the path is open. Somewhere high in the bleachers, a student whispers, "Did you see that?" His friend nods. They did not even yell. The first boy says, "They did not have to." A final small thing happens, and almost no one notices. The older woman beside Solomon reaches down and stills the wobble in the shared chair leg with her foot. It does not wobble anymore. The roll call moves closer to the letter D. The band waits for the cue they have rehearsed 100 times. The room is ready. When the name they have all been waiting for is called, it will not be a single cheer. It will be a sound built by what was just learned. It will be a sound that says dignity can stand its ground, and when it does, the whole room remembers how to stand with it. The ceremony flows forward, but the air inside the gym is not the same. Every name that echoes across the microphone lands differently now. The clapping has a rhythm, a respect woven into it that wasn't there before. Families still cheer, cameras still flash, but in between, the silence is thicker, sharper, as if everyone is waiting for one particular name. Tyron stands in the middle of the student line, robe-pressed honor cords draped around his neck. He tries to listen to the names ahead of him, but his mind keeps replaying what he saw only minutes ago. 2 guards towering over his father, and then 6 men rising like pillars across the room. They didn't shout. They didn't threaten. They just stood, and somehow the whole room shifted. He swallows hard. Pride and fire churn inside his chest. He knows his father well enough to read the stillness on his face. It isn't fear. It isn't anger. It's the same look Tyran saw when he was 12, when he came home crying after a cruel word at school. His dad never raised his voice then either. He just sat steady, eyes unflinching as if nothing could shake him. That same strength now fills the gym. From the stage, the announcer calls another name. Applause rolls through the bleachers. Tyron is 3 places away from the ramp. The girl in front of him is grinning nervously, whispering her speech under her breath. The boy behind him keeps tugging at his slipping gown. Tyron doesn't join their chatter. His eyes stay locked on the 3rd row, on the man who raised him, on the silent line of warriors who rose for him without being asked. The announcer clears her throat and calls the next name. 1 step closer. Tyron adjusts his cords. His palms are slick. He wipes them against his gown. His heart hammers, not from nerves about walking the stage, but from something heavier, something deeper. Another name. 2 steps closer. He looks across the gym one last time. He finds his father. Solomon hasn't moved. Hands steady on his knees. Shoulders squared. Eyes on the stage. Calm as stone, but burning with pride. Then it happens. Tyron Dryden. The name carries across the loudspeakers, but for Tyron it feels like the whole world stopped to hear it. A half-second of silence stretches, then the room erupts. The applause is not scattered or uneven. It is deliberate. It is forceful. And above it all, the 6 men rise together, no words. No salute, just 6 pairs of hands clapping in perfect unison. Each clap lands like a drumbeat, heavy and steady, a sound that belongs in both a battlefield and a family gathering. It is not performance. It is not theater. It is loyalty given form. The audience feels it. Parents who barely looked up earlier are now on their feet. A grandmother wipes her eyes, though she doesn't know why. A boy in the bleachers drops his phone, too caught in the moment to notice. The sound swells until the walls themselves seem to hum. Tyron walks across the stage slowly, chin high, each step deliberate. He takes the diploma, shakes the principal's hand, and turns toward the crowd. His eyes scan, searching for one person. He finds him. Solomon does not wave. He does not rise. He simply meets his son's gaze and gives the smallest, most meaningful smile Tyran has ever seen. It is enough. More than enough. It says everything words could not. Tyron nods back, steady, strong, and then steps off the stage. The applause lingers, echoing long after the next name is called. From that moment forward, the ceremony feels different for everyone in the gym. Students still cheer. Families still clap. But each graduate walks in the echo of that thunder. The story of what just happened spreads in whispers along the rows. People tell each other, "Did you see it? Did you hear that?" Teachers exchange glances, not saying anything but knowing this will be remembered. And in the center of it all sits Solomon, quiet and unshaken, watching his son move into adulthood with the kind of pride that does not need noise. The last caps rain down and the crowd spills into the halls. The gym doors swing and catch as families push through with flowers and signs. Balloons scrape the ceiling and drift toward the open air. Solomon stays seated 2 breaths longer. He lets the noise pass through him. He touches the photo in his inside pocket and feels the soft edge with his thumb. Then he stands. Creed meets him at the end of the row. No rush, no speech, just the look that passes between men who have shared weight they never had words for. "You good?" Creed says. "I am," Solomon says. "Thank you for being here." "Always," Creed answers. Javier Meeks joins with a small grin that shows up mostly in his eyes. Zachary Wells tips his head from near the exit. The other 2 hang back, keeping the flow of people from squeezing the aisle. "Find your boy," Creed says. "I will." The hall smells like floor wax and warm popcorn. Voices bounce off cinder block and trophy cases. Teachers wave students toward the back lot. Someone shouts for a missing cap. A little girl hugs a bouquet that is too big for her arms. Out in the sun, the light has gone soft. The bleachers throw long shadows across the asphalt. Students gather in loose circles near the flagpole. Phones rise. Poses change. Laughter comes in bursts. Tyron stands with his gown unzipped and his cords straight. He looks older and younger at once. He spots his father and the noise falls away. They meet halfway. They do not rush the hug. They step into it and hold it just long enough for the day to settle. "You okay?" Tyron asks. "I am," Solomon says. Yeah, Tyron says. "I was ready to walk off that stage." "I know," Solomon says. "And you did not. You kept your moment. That is what I will remember." Tyron nods, eyes wet but steady. He glances past his father. The 6 men have drifted into a loose line along the edge of the crowd. They are talking low, watching, not in charge. "Just present, who are they to you?" Tyron asks. "Brothers," Solomon says. "We brought each other home." "That never ends." Creed steps forward at a respectful distance and offers his hand to Tyron. The grip is firm and warm. "Proud of you," Creed says. "You do not even know me," Tyron says with a small smile. "I know your father," Creed says. "That tells me plenty." Javier claps Tyron once on the shoulder. "You walk like him," he says. "Straight, calm. Keep that." A school board member approaches with the principal. She holds a clipboard to her chest like a shield and looks both careful and sincere. "Sir," she says to Solomon, "I am sorry for what happened in there. You were seated correctly. It will not happen again." "Thank you," Solomon says. "Today belongs to the students. I would like it to stay that way." "We agree," she says. She turns to Tyron. "Congratulations. You earned this." "Thank you," he says. They move on to calm another knot of traffic. The guards are nowhere to be seen. The day has turned a page. By the fence, a classmate asks for a photo with Tyron, then another. Then 2 teachers line up and take turns. Solomon stands to the side, not hiding, not centering himself, letting his son fill the frame. When it quiets, he reaches into his jacket and shows Tyron the photo. A younger father. A mother with a laugh caught halfway. A baby boy with wide, bright eyes. "She would have made us retake every one of those pictures," Tyron says. 3 times, Solomon says. Maybe 4. They share the small ache that feels like love wearing a different coat. It does not crush them. It steadies them. The men begin to break away. There are no big goodbyes. No speeches. Creed raises 2 fingers in a signal that means nothing to the crowd and everything to the ones who know. "We are good. We are near." "Dinner," Solomon says as the lot thins. "Your pick." "Waffle House," Tyron says without thinking. "Of course," Solomon says. They walk to the charger. The metal is warm under their hands. Tyron runs his finger along a small scratch near the handle, a mark from some old trip that now feels like part of the family history. "Before we go," Tyron says, "I need to ask, why did you stay so quiet?" "I felt like shouting. I wanted to make them hear me." "In my life," Solomon says, "I have had 100 chances to trade my peace for noise. A few times the noise mattered. Most times it did not build anything. Today was for you. My voice did not belong at the center of it. My presence did. So I gave you that." "They disrespected you," Tyron says. "In front of everyone. They showed themselves," Solomon says. "And then others showed up with what was right. People saw both. That is enough. They get in. The doors close. The car turns the lot into a small, quiet world. For a moment, they sit with the engine off and the windows open. The flags at the pole pull in the breeze and fall back to the mast. Tell me one story, Tyron says, from when you knew them. Not the movie version. The real thing. Solomon thinks for a long breath. Kandahar, he says. Convoy hit a mine. Fire and dust and metal everywhere. We could not hear each other. We moved by looking, by hands. Creed's leg was torn up. He kept pushing a teammate forward anyway. I lifted a hood off a man who could not move. It did not feel brave. It felt like the only choice. We walked out together and no one cheered. We just breathed and counted and kept watch until morning. That is what those men did today. They kept watch. Tyron sits with that. So today was not about muscle. No, Solomon says. It was about weight. The kind you carry inside. The kind that says, I will not let you push this line. Tyron turns the key. The engine answers. They pull out slow. As they near the exit, Creed's truck rolls past in the cross lane. He looks over. He does not wave. He does not salute. He nods once. Solomon nods back. Then the truck is gone. They drive in easy silence. The light turns gold and then leans toward orange. Houses go by. Fields open and close. Tyron's phone buzzes with messages. He does not pick it up. He looks out the window and lets the day replay in a way that feels clearer than any video. At a long red light, he speaks again. I learned something today. What? Solomon asks. That strength is not loud, Tyron says. It is not about making other people small. It is about holding steady so the right thing has room. Solomon smiles without looking over. That is enough for one day. Waffle House sits bright against the dimming sky. The sign hums. Inside, a cook moves with practiced grace. A server wipes a booth with quick circles and a soft song under her breath. They take a corner seat. The server pours water and sliders menus toward them. Big day, she says. Big day, Solomon answers. Tyron orders like he always does. Hash browns scattered and smothered. A waffle. Bacon. Solomon orders coffee he does not need and eggs he will finish. They eat slow. They talk about small things. Which teacher laughed the hardest? Which classmate tripped and made the whole row cheer? They laugh with the kind of relief that shows up after a storm breaks and leaves the air clean. Halfway through the meal, Tyron looks up from his plate. I do not know what I will do yet, he says. College, work, maybe service. I am not rushing it. I just want to carry myself right. You already are, Solomon says. Whatever you choose, carry it like that. When the plates are empty, the server brings the check and says congratulations again. They leave a tip that makes her blink and smile big. It matters. It always matters. Outside, the sky is deep blue with the first stars pushing through. The air has cooled. They stand at the car a second longer than needed. I kept a promise today, Solomon says, touching the pocket where the photo rests. To your mother, to you, to myself. I saw, Tyron says. They drive home without music. The road hums under the tires. Streetlights drift by in soft pools. The town thins and fields open wide. The house waits with its small porch light and the flowers she planted that still find a way to bloom. Inside, Solomon sets the photo on the mantel for the night. Not a shrine. A reminder. Tyron sets the diploma beside it and steps back. They do not say a prayer out loud. They stand in a quiet that feels like one. Before sleep, Tyron texts a friend who asked for the short version. He writes 3 lines. My dad showed me what strength is. 6 men showed me what loyalty looks like. I will not forget today. He puts the phone face down and turns off the lamp. In the dark, Solomon sits at the edge of his bed for one more minute. He thinks of the gym, of the line he refused to move, of the men who stood, of the boy who walked into his name. He breathes in and lets it out slow. Some people shout to fill a room. Some stand and let the truth fill it for them. Today the truth stood. Today a promise was kept. The house settles. The night holds, and a father and a son sleep with the kind of peace that comes when you carry yourself the way you were meant to.